Well, I don't know, we'll try again. I have so much trouble trying to get good sound. Right now I'm hand holding it and I have a little thing taped over a sponge thing taped over the mic so I can get some sound without the wind noise. And as long as I'm hand holding the camera, fine enough. But if I walk away from the camera, I've got to figure that out. At any rate, I wanted to give another walk about the garden because I've got some things done. And before I go any further, I just want to show you how it is now. Look at this. I got this all mowed down now, eh? And cleaned up around. Of course, I never remember the name of this flower. It's got its buds coming along. Probably be another week before the flowers are open on that. And I haven't noticed any buds on the rose bushes. I think they're kind of behind. Of course, the lilac, that's out in full bloom. Now, in the last video, I had this one already covered in mulch. But now I've got this one covered. Give you some close up now. Of course, this is where you need smell-o-vision, eh? The beautiful lilac blooms. As you can see, it's all mowed down. I wasn't able to, there's been 2 or 3 years, this here wasn't even mowed. But I got a blade and I had to make some other modifications to my trimmer. And it's going along pretty good, and I'm liking it. Blossoms on the snowball bush. See, they're not open yet. When they open, that'll be a fair size inflorescence. But right now, they're just green and still small. And I've got this all mulched. But as you can see, it's not right into the fence because when I put the mulch here, the peas wasn't up. But they are coming up now. See, there's one right there. And unfortunately, it's later in the day, so I have to do it this way. One there. Let's see. 2 there. I counted, I believe it was 21 pea shoots coming up along here. This is the saber pea. I think I'm doing well with the hardening off this year. Now this was advice from another local gardener. When you're hardening off tomatoes, put them down in something so that the wind is not forcing them right from the bottom and just whipping them around. They're up a little bit, but that will keep them from being just tore to pieces with the wind. They are drooping somewhat now because they've been out for a few hours, but they were standing fairly steady. And this is the 3rd day being out with sunshine. And they were out a couple other days when it was raining and cloudy. Now this here is the area that still was those ugly ones and not growing very well that I was showing you. But I think I got about 30 plants there that looks like they'll come along. Next week I'll plant them out because today and tomorrow is sunny, and so after tomorrow, they should be able to withstand it. So Monday, Tuesday, something, I'll put them out. I didn't mulch this because I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Let's see. Yeah, you can see those. There's 3 pea plants right there. I think it was 18. I counted along this fence pea shoots, and that's the Oregon sugar pod snow pea. Because of the cold weather, strawberries They're just starting to lose their petals now. And so it's going to be another little while, probably another week, before I can show you growing strawberries. This is something I haven't showed you before. So I had 11 sunflower plants that were just barely up. So I took them, I put them right here, and you can see that in the first, when I put them out here, these first set of true leaves were just barely coming out, and now it's getting a second set. That one, also that one. I put 11 here. One of them looks like it got eaten. See that little stick there, green little stick there in the center of the screen? That one got eaten. The rest of them seem to be doing fine. See, I even got those two ditch areas cut down. They'll be out in the next walkabout. You'll see the columbine in full bloom. Let's see what else we got. No, that's about it. You've seen that there's no difference. I mean, it's grew a bit, but the oregano there, and there's the thyme that's down right there. I'm going to stand back, zoom in, so you can see how much the leaves are out on this one. Then we'll go over here. And so that was the south side of the pine tree, and this is the north side. And you can see the leaves are much smaller because being on the north side of the pine tree, it doesn't get as much sunlight, of course. I like that one. I want to leave that one there. St. John's wort. See, this is getting pretty big here now. And you see as it was spreading in there, it doesn't spread that fast, but it'll spread by its roots. I haven't noticed it to be very readily shooting up out of seed being spread around yet. So from its roots, you just gotta be able to get around it and just pull up. So that bit back there, I'll just pull it up, roots and all, and then I'll have just the main bit that I deliberately planted outside. Romeo cherry that was just loaded in blossoms, just completely loaded. Cherries are not growing to the size that I can show you cherries yet, but you can see how many flower remains are hanging on. So that goes to say, because if they're not pollinated, usually just the entire flower stalk would drop right off. This thing is just starting to come out in bloom flowers now. I mean in the leaves. Still tiny, just as bad as the grapes. Now this is something exciting. You see right here. Now I have a picture of it, but there was 3 little flowers right there. The remains of the flowers is not falling off. That would be really neat if I had gotten a pair this year. See, I mowed all the pathways. And as I was saying about the dandelions, of course dandelions are good not only for human food, you can feed them to chickens and whatever as well. But there's clover and other things there, so I'm not really all that interested in keeping the grass down completely. But I do have two or three times a year cut everything so to keep trees and that from growing, right? Was it calendula or something? Something that starts with a P. I mean a C. I don't remember the name of it. But you see those big leaves there? I've got one flower there. It's coming well. I have the one, you can see the one leaf on that one right there. There's one down in there. And then there's another one right there behind those dandelion leaves there. So that's 4 of them. And the strawberries. I've got a couple of hens I need to get some feed for, but I did poke in and see them there earlier this morning. And I had made some rhubarb syrup, and the remains I had given to them, so they had that left there. So they had food to eat as of this morning. But maybe tomorrow I'll pull up the dandelions that's in this bed and bring it up to the chickens and hens, and then the dandelions in that bed is gone, right? I did see the cabbage moth flying around, but not much damage. That one's got a bit of damage on that one leaf, but they seem to be doing well. Now while I'm here, I'll just say I sprinkled over this bed some amaranth seed just to see what would happen, because I've always had trouble growing the cole crop. So if the amaranth sprouts, I'll decide. We'll watch and see what the plants do and see if we can get which ones we can get to grow the best there. I put the cabbage. I had some cabbage early Jersey Wakefield. So there's one there. Another one. And most of this is the Jerusalem artichoke. See, I planted back 30, but you see that there. I didn't plant that. That's the ones, if you leave here a little piece of a tuber in the ground at all, it's going to grow again. So there's going to be quite a lot more than actual 30 Jerusalem artichoke plants there, sunchokes. And I also took some Cornish toucan seeds, the carrot, and sprinkled over this bed. So I mean, you're going to be weeding anyway, so might as well have the carrots. And if I'm weeding out carrots, then the tops of carrots are, I got this cut down nice here, but the tree stands over and the edge of the ditch is right there, so I have to walk back around and go on this side hole. Anybody know what mushroom this is? So this one's getting older now, but if it's edible, there's a awful lot growing. They're popping up everywhere around in here. See that? And okay, you can see what the top is like. Here's what it's like inside. It's a tan colored ribs there. And the stalk is solid all the way through. Just wish someone lived close by who actually knew mushrooms. Blossoms are all gone now. And I walk by, every time I walk by this tree, I check it over to see if I can see any of the cherry plums growing. Right there you see there's quite a few of the remains of the blossoms hanging on, so I'm kind of hopeful that they will actually be producing plums for me. We are going to go up to the apple tree. Actually, we'll walk up there because once again I'm just showing you what all I've done since I done the last walkabout video, right? You see this is nicely mowed down now. I've got a nice path mowed here. The blueberries, as I said in the last video, they flowering like crazy. This is the Canadian bunchberry, and there's going to be a slew of those around too. Now, I think I tried them once, but I don't remember what my impression was. They are supposed to be a rather tasteless berry, but perfectly edible. And so you use them, combine them with something that's got a really strong taste that you want to tone down. So sometimes currants will have a strong taste, or put them in with rhubarb, and you won't change the taste, you'll just tone down the strength of the other fruit that you want to, you like the taste, but you just don't like the strength. Now look at this, it's out in full bloom. Isn't that a beauty? There was a bug there that I was going to try and catch, but he's gone again. Now it looks really nice with the pathway mowed down here, and it's easy to walk along. But there's someone else who likes a nice clear pathway too, and that's a moose. So I'm going to have to put a gate thing across here to deter, well, just to not have an invitation for the moose. But I've cut it back, and I even cut back the branches that were sticking out across, so now we can just walk across here nice and easily, right? Now before that, the other tree on the cliff there had the blossom had coming out. This one was starting to lose its blossoms, so it doesn't look so beautiful now, because over half of the petals have fallen. They're all down there on the ground. But this thing was just buried in apple blossoms. You know about the strawberries and the blueberries that are here, but now, this thing. I've been told all my life that this was a dogberry tree. Well, it's not. I finally got around to keying it out. This is a red elderberry. It's a native plant to North America. Grows wild throughout most of the United States and the southern half of Canada. And they grow like crazy around here. Now that's the wild version. I was taking up some sod from one place, and you'll see in a bit where I took it up from. But you see, I've put some along here, which rolls up this side of the embankment a little bit. I put another layer across the walkway here, and I put some out there. That is to hopefully bring up the surface level of this pond a little bit. And if it stays up, then I shouldn't have to water either one of these beds. But we will see. Let's go up here again now. You see the grass clippings are quite fresh here. So I was cutting back close to this tree there earlier today. And I have the trimmer with the metal blade on it. And I see this blob just jump right up into the front of the trimmer. So I searched among the grass, toad, cut the back leg off and killed him stone dead. I wasn't too happy about that. But accidents happens, I guess. And then I put some sod right here, but there's 3 places that I have sod. Now we're coming here. See the sign says amaranth? And there's a sign there that says alfalfa. So I had some in those 40 self flats. I had some amaranth and I had some alfalfa. I planted out hardened them off, both of them. And I planted the amaranth down this end. I planted the alfalfa up that end. Every one of the transplanted amaranth died. Well, you see these little piles here, and little bunches of the greens. Looks a little bit like clover leaves. That's alfalfa. They didn't seem to mind getting transplanted at all. They just kept on going. Now, what I also done, mainly because of the amaranth, is now heard early this week, I think it was Monday, I direct sowed some seeds. Now you probably won't be able to see the amaranth seeds because there's a couple right there that are sprouted. But like I say, you probably won't be able to see them there. Now, if we go down to the amaranth, I'm thinking I'll be able to show you them because there was a whole bunch of them sprouted. Now you see, right there, there's one sprouted there. And every so far along, you can see a sprouted amaranth. Once again, you can see right there, and there, and there, and there, and there. The amaranth are sprouting really well. So, there is excitement with the alfalfa, I mean. There is excitement with the alfalfa that it sprouted really well. Just direct sow. And it's in transplant. So technically speaking, if I wanted to, I can set out those 200 cell flats and start the alfalfa in a very small area and then just plant them out in there, whatever the spacing needs to be. Amaranth, I guess I'll have to direct sow, and it's yet to be seen how well that's going to do. Now this plant here, I'm pretty sure is also red elderberry, but it's the domesticated version. So that's why the flowers are more, elongated, like on the other plants. The inflorescence things are more like a flat top, but this one is a bunch like this. That's the more domesticated version of the red elderberry. Where the seed come from, I don't know. Red currants coming right along. I won't be towing them down until Sunday. I love red currants. Still not growing very fast. Now, I'm going to get onto it because these trees around here, I'll trim them back and give this some more light, and maybe give it some seaweed mulch in that as well, and see if I can get this rhododendron to grow really large. If you remember, it's been years ago too now, that I had 2 ASCAP here. I had moved them originally over from where the old greenhouse was, and then I tore them up. There's a video where I was just tearing them out of the ground with the quad, but I didn't get all the roots. And so there is one ASCAP bush here. I don't remember if it had flowered or not. Wait a minute. Right there, see, it's got flowers now. So if it can pollinate without having the other variety close by, then you might get a couple berries off it. I'm going to leave it there and let it go again, especially this is Romeo cherry. So, I mean, you've seen the other Romeo cherry that was leaved out and blossoms, and the blossoms they fall and everything going along just fine. This thing wasn't leaving out, and now here it is almost July and it's starting to leave out, and it's got one blossom right there. So I don't know what's up with that. And like I say, I mean, this one here, I thought this sea berry was doing just fine. And this year, not a leaf. But that's its pop down there, so I'll get that one cleaned away and have it growing good. Now see, as you can see, I've been working. 2 beds ready. Right there. And this soil is nice. The reason this soil is nice is because you see the compost bins are there, but originally the first time I put compost bins in this area, it was right here where this bed is. And then I had another bed here afterwards. But of course, where the compost bins were here, this would have been growing up and the minerals leached out and etc, etc. So very good growing area here. Let's go down here. It was just the other day when I was cleaning them out, I was getting hungry, so I ate those 2. But I've got another one here now that I can harvest. And there's another one growing up down there. And that asparagus is doing really well. And okay, I thought I had 4 too. See, here's another asparagus there. But there's one here. You can see the little stick growing up here. It's not the growing harvestable shoots yet. So that's 3. And then over here is another one that may or may not grow up a shoot that's harvestable. There's a shoot right there. There's a bigger shoot over here. So the asparagus that was there, they're doing fine. I just got to clean up the grass and other vegetation that's there. And everything is good and exciting. The petals are falling on most of the blossoms on the plum tree. But that'll be loaded in plums this year. The cherry tree will be loaded in cherries. I'm going to clean up this area, and I'll have these two bins with compost in them. But around the outside, this is where I'm going to put 2 or 3 different species of squash around these 2 bins. I don't remember how many species of squash I have. Now, check this out, eh? Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there's this long one. So this long one is 33 feet long and 4 feet wide. You come to right here, and I think you can see on the video where the soil is dark, 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 and all of a sudden it changes. Because, once again, the raspberries, when I showed up here in 2000, there was an overgrown raspberry patch here, and that's where it ended. I tried to refresh it, but eventually I just said, forget it. There was 2 of them there, so this is why it looks like this. And I made that other one over there and just tore everything up here. And I did have, for a while, I had a compost bin right here. Now, it was right here. I planted a pumpkin. It was supposed to produce pumpkins about 16 to 18 pounds. And I got a 22-pound pumpkin off a plant that was supposed to produce only up to 18-pound pumpkins. So this is a good area, and the reason I did it 4 feet instead of 3 feet is because my intention is to have the area of 3 beds of potatoes, but down the one edge I was going to plant the autumn butternut? That squash that I have the 10 of. I was going to plant down this end there. Down the one edge, and then the rest of the bed I'll have potatoes. And of course another 6 beds of potatoes. You can go through a lot of potatoes if you're eating them every day, but the other thing is I have plans for experimenting with different ways to use potatoes. And of course a recipe that you're trying can go to be failure, and I don't know how much I'm going to need is what I'm trying to say. Now, you've seen me planting these potatoes, and they are coming up now. The greater percentage of them are shooting up in all of the beds. There's 6 beds of those little tiny potatoes I put here. This bed, this is the crimson lentils. Anyway, that's what they look like when they come up. There's the plant right there. So that's what the crimson lentil looks like when it comes up. And there is almost all of them are up in this bed, actually. I think. This bed is potatoes again. And this one over here. I'll go down the other side so my shadow is not in the screen. You can see the beans are all coming up. Pretty much every bean is there. They're a little slower over here But I did notice, yeah, see, there's 1, 2, I think there's a couple more there somewhere. Anyway, so all of the beans coming up, this will be tiger's eye. Those rutabaga type plants, I don't know what they are. They can be transplanted when I figures out somewhere to transplant them. Now, of course, I do know that this is kale, so I'm going to transplant that for sure. Maybe I should put it down, some of them down by the front fence. What do you think? This is the 3rd year for that kale plant, and the flowers are just coming. It hasn't opened any flowers yet. It's a little warm today, so that's why it's droopy like that. And the broccoli romanesco, it actually seems to be doing quite fine. The initial 2 leaves on the bottom of that one have died, but the rest of it looks like it's doing fine. So the initial leaves that was on it when I planted it here, like it got a bit of a transplant shock, and so that's why that is. And that's these 2 eyebush blueberries. They've leaved out. I've got a bunch of dead stuff here, but I mean, I've got these shoots that grew last year, and they're doing just fine, as well as this one over here. So that's all wonderful. I have harvested some rhubarb already. This apple tree is actually 2 apple trees, and it's a little bit difficult in this light to actually show you. There's less blossoms on this, the biggest one, than has been in the previous 2 or 3 years. If we can get over here, so this is the 2nd tree, and on that one, now the blossoms, there's a ton of blossoms. You could probably hear the bees. You see, they're pretty much very white and all white on these trees, as opposed to the cliff apple. It's got that pinkish color in them. This side, because of the way the wind blows, this apple tree on this side, the apples tend to be clearer and not as much as that black spot fungus gets on them. As opposed, when you go over that side, you get more of the black spots. The skinny rhubarb underneath the apple tree is coming along, growing really well this year. These are the ones that I like to pick when I'm just out walking about the garden. If I come here and pick one and walk around the garden chewing on it, because it's the right size, right? I got the trailer all ready to go down to the beach to get kelp, because I had planned to put kelp in the ground here, and I was going to make a video on me planting these potatoes because of the way that I was going to plant it, so I was going to show you what I was doing. But I got down to the beach and there was no kelp to be had. There was a small bit, like if I was just going down and picking some out by hand and throwing in a couple of 5-gallon buckets, yes, but to get any amount, it was like, nah. So I'm going to finish this off because, as I was saying, this bed, it's good soil, really good soil right out to there, and then it stops. So I'm going to take some compost and put on the outside last little bit of this bed. And the other ones, I'm just going to plant the potatoes like I planted. You see me plant the other ones. Just shuffle them in the ground. When they grow up, you continually mulch them and give them some compost tea, that kind of thing, right? I can happily report that the carrots are growing. Yeah, see that? Not all of them are up yet, but I gotta put my hand down all the time so I can find out where he is. The greater percentage of them, they are not coming up thickly, because if you remember, I had that pelleted seed, so I was able to put them in spaced out so that I won't have to thin them. So according to right now, it looks like I'm going to get quite a few carrots, and I looked over both beds and they're going along pretty good. The turnip and the rutabaga, they're both doing well. So you see, once again with the trimmer, I've got all the paths trimmed down, so I have it looking nice here. The next time I give a tour, hopefully I'll have all the weeds that are in the beds taken up as well. I come here, this is the black beluga lentil, and I'll take this dandelion here out of the way. I don't know who that is, but yeah, once again, see, that's the little lentil plant, and they are pretty much all coming up as well. And over here, Jacob's cattle. Not all, I mean, but it's funny because you see this row, that full row here, and this one, you got one there, and there's one right there just coming out of the ground, which is kind of funny. The germination is not steady throughout. Don't know why. Beets, they're doing well, but they're just still tiny still, so I'm going to have caramel galore once this bed starts flowering. However, I will have California poppy, because that's California poppy there, and there's another one over here. There's some more around there somewhere, so I will have California poppy growing. There's several here. Once they get a little bigger, and like I say, I got what I know I don't want growing here taken out, then in the next garden tour you'll be able to see what the rest of them are. There's the occasional sugar beet growing, so I've got to look and show you one of them. There's one right there. So where's my finger? Right there. Okay, so that's a sugar beet growing up right there. Here's another one right here. And another one right there. There's the occasional one growing here. So I'm going to this I got to get done. So I plant potatoes, those beds that I just showed you, and then come right over to this bed, get rid of everything I know that I want to get rid of, and resow it with sugar beets. This is the seed plant for turnip, purple top white globe. It's been flowering now for, I guess, all of this week. So we're going to have some fresh turnip seeds. This is the black turtle bean that's in here. Now I know some of them are coming up. Oh, here's one right here. There's a lot of weeds because this was, yeah, they're coming up all over. There's a lot of grass because this was where the garlic was for 2 years in a row. And when the garlic gets a little taller, it's kind of hard to see the weeds, so they kind of get ignored. Oh, here's something exciting. Now, the onions here, this is the first ones I planted out. They're doing well. And right here, I took out the ones, so you remember there I had some that was too small to be planted out when I planted out the first lot. And I just took them from the sunroom and I planted them directly out here once they got a little bigger. And I thought they had all died. And so I hardened off the ones that I had in the 40 cell flats. And I was going to just re-sow everything. But when I got here, I sat down on my cart and I looked at it. Most of them, there's only like 4 or 5 of the white ones I put in there. Most of the ones that I took directly from the sunroom and from the grow room and put here are still alive. And now, these, however, I slowly hardened them off. Remember, I put them out beyond the north side of the house in the shade and moved them out a little bit at a time. And I finish off that bed. And I've done this entire bed. And they all, the occasional one went a little bit limp, but for the most part, they survived the transplant perfect. So that is actually really exciting. I don't think I have anything else that's really exciting to show you, so thank you very much for watching. And as always, don't eat the poison food, and I shall see you in the next video. Oh, and one thing I did forget to tell you, I've had these out there drooping a little bit. I'm going to bring them back in right now. But I think I'm doing very well. This is all the squash plants that I have that I'm hardening off.